because I knew if my foot hit that water, I wasn't going to come back.
Okay.
I didn't want to really come back because what I was feeling was amazing. And I call it selfish, if you will, but I was enveloped in love, peace, serenity. I was like, I'm going in there.
This is it. This is where it's at.
This is it. And when my mom called me that second time, it was because I believe everybody has a choice at that moment when you come to that moment. So like, I feel like if I would have walked in the water, I would have chose to cross. But if I would have, I feel like it happened so fast that it almost feels like I didn't have a choice, because my reaction, she called with such assertiveness and so much like passion and like, I literally felt like I was a 2-year-old child about to cross a busy highway.
Oh, gotcha.
That's how she screamed my name. And so it was like, I turned back so fast, you know? So I have a little bit of, that's why I make a joke and go, you ain't messing up my time, because part of me is still there almost. Like, I want to go home, but it's not my time to go home. You know what I mean? And I feel like I made the choice to come back out of love for my mother, because the way she called me was like, if your mom calls you 911, like, you're going to answer. You're going to respond.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey there, beautiful souls. It's your girl, Allie. We are back at it again for another episode of Living Life Consciously. I have a very special guest lined up for you today, and I'm stoked to get started. So without further ado, Justin, say hey.
Hey, Cosmic Thrill Seekers. I'm Justin. This is Living Life Consciously, where we explore the extraordinary, ride the waves of inspiration, and embark on an adventure of limitless curiosity together. And Sarah, would you like to say a quick hello?
Hi, I am Sarah, also known as Lighthouse Delphi.
Very cool. Sarah, thank you so much for being here with us this evening. And for our audience, in this episode of Living Life Consciously, we're honored to welcome Sarah, also known as, like she just said, Lighthouse Goddess Rose Delphi, a co-author in the powerful book Touched by the Light, published by Near Death Institute. There we go. I'm glad you have that. Very, very, very nice.
Very cool.
Okay. After a life-changing near-death experience in 2017, Sarah's spiritual gifts were supercharged, and she returned with a sacred mission to help others heal through love, sound, and divine guidance. Sarah is a true multi-dimensional healer. She's an oracle, a sound alchemist, a water priestess, and a grid worker who channels messages from spirit, balances chakras, cleanses auras, and even helps heal past lives and ancestral trauma.
Wow.
She works a lot with tarot and oracle cards, crystals, and even light language to support emotional healing, inner child work, and twin flame journeys. She also receives divine downloads to activate ancient earth portals, traveling sacred sites across the globe through her companion YouTube channel, Lightwork Travels. This conversation is packed with wisdom, warmth, and wonder. Whether you're curious about NDEs, energy healing, or awakening your divine gifts, you won't want to miss today's conversation and the love that Sarah brings to the world. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm very glad that you're here with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate this opportunity.
Sarah, thank you so much for being here with us today. We're delighted to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you for holding space.
Oh, yes. We love doing this, to be honest with you. This is like the one of the highlights of our day when we have an interview scheduled, where we like look forward to it because it takes us out of the 3D and gives us something spiritual to do and think about and talk about. So I'm here for all of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for being here with us.
Thanks.
Alrighty. Do you mind taking us back to the NDE in 2017? Because I know that was such a pivotal moment for you. So do you mind walking us through what happened and how it's changed your life?
Sure. So in 2017, I found myself pregnant with my third child, and I had a lot of like health complications. and I had a high-risk pregnancy doctor and everything like that. And they actually had to take my son like 2 months early because he was already too big. He was like, when he was born, he was 12 pounds. And so
Oh, wow.
that's a big
they didn't
baby.
want him to like gain any more weight. You know, it was already enough. I was on bed rest and everything like that. And I did a scheduled cesarean, and like 2 days before the cesarean, I met with the anesthesiologist for the pre-op, and I just like had like a bad feeling, like a premonition. And I told them, I was like, I just feel like something is off, like with anesthesia. Like I'm scared of the anesthesia. And they're like, you've done this already before, because I have 2 daughters that I had the same way by cesarean. And you know, I was high risk with them as well.
Okay.
And but I didn't have that feeling with them.
With them, okay.
Yeah, but with my son, I had that feeling. And so I told the doctors or the anesthesiologists, and they just tried to reassure me. They were like, you've done this before, you know, it's just going to be the same type of thing. And so
Okay.
I was like, okay. But when I went in to actually like have the cesarean done, I was like so nervous. Like I was so anxious. Like I just knew something was going to happen. So I just like kept praying, and I was trying to distract myself too. I was like watching TV, like trying to watch TV and stuff like that. But I was like praying too. And then the nurses came in, they got me ready for surgery, they prepped me. And then the nurse, she was like, okay, we're going to go walk back to the OR, to the operating room.
Okay.
And it was so cold already in there. Like I had socks on, the hospital socks, and I had the gown on, but that's all I had. And I honestly wasn't sure if I was just like cold already, or if I was scared. Because like it was like a mix of both.
Yeah.
I believe it was a mix of both. But I told the nurse when we were walking down the hallway, I was like, you know, I'm really nervous. This feels like the walk of death. Like this doesn't feel right. And the crazy part is like everything was white and light and bright, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so anyways, when I went in there, the nurse, she just reassured me. She's like, I'm gonna be here with you the whole time. And I'm like, okay. And then the anesthesiologist, they had me hold a pillow and tell me to lean forward. And I didn't get like a normal epidural like most women get. I had like a spinal block, is what they call it. So basically I was numb from like, I could only move my neck. So I couldn't even move my arms or anything like that.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
And so during surgery, I was still like very conscious. You know, I was listening to them talk, and I actually asked my doctor, I said, doctor, are you using shears? Because I could it felt like I was getting cut like with scissors. And then she stopped, and she was like, are you feeling any pain? And I was like, no. But I kind of laughed about it because that was weird to me. And then she was like, okay, well, you're okay then. And it made me laugh too because her voice is so sweet. So she was like, do you feel any pain? And I was like, no. And she was like, you're okay then. And I was like, am I? This is nuts. And so we just, you know, they took the baby, and I was in and out of consciousness through the surgery, but I was all right. But whenever I went into the recovery room, that's when everything started. The nurse came in. Yeah, I was right afterwards. Cause like, before they put you in your room, they put you in your recovery room. So I was like right after surgery in my recovery room. The nurse came in, and I was like begging her for ice. I was like, please, I need ice. I'm so thirsty. Like I need water. I need ice. And she was like, well, you just have to stay like 30 minutes in here. And once we see you're stable, we'll take you over to your room and we can give you ice and all that. And I'm just like, all right, but I need it. Like I'm so thirsty. So I like passed out. I fell asleep, and I remember my mother, she started to panic because she was the only one in there with me, and she was sitting at the bottom of
at the foot of the bed.
At the foot of the bed by the door. Okay. And so I like watched her because like it woke me up. She was like at the door and she was like screaming in the hall saying like her heart rate has dropped like that. But it felt almost out of body at that point because I felt like, who's she talking? Is she talking about me? That my heart rate dropped? Like what? Like I knew I didn't feel good, but I was like so in and out of it.
In and out of it,
yeah. So when I came to, she's like her heart rate, and I was like, huh? And then all these nurses came in, and they were like scattering everywhere. But like I still remember being calm, but I remember being like, because the way my personality is like, I'm like, why are they running around like they don't know what they're doing? But then they had an intention to help. Like I felt their intention.
Okay.
You know, I felt that they were wanting to help, but at the same time, they didn't know what they were doing, or they were scared at what was happening. But I was just like calm. And I couldn't like talk or anything or do any of that stuff, but I was just laying there. But I just was like, okay. And then the doctor came in, the head anesthesiologist came in, and how I remember it happened was my mom and there was basically this big old white guy in there. What I mean by big is he's like probably like a basketball player, like 6 something. And he's like washing his hands, and I started to wake up, and my mom's like, Sarah, the head anesthesiologist is here. And he walks over to me and he's like, you have morphine-induced hypothermic shock. And I didn't know really what that was, but I have my associates in nursing and pre-nursing. And so like I learned a lot about certain things. And plus I have health issues. So I know a lot of like medical lingo, and I've dealt with a lot of stuff. So even though I was like incoherent at the time, I kind of understood what he was saying, because he basically explained it as like the people in the mountains, whenever they're climbing mountains and then they get too cold, they can't maintain homeostasis.
Yep.
And their core body temperature drops. And whenever their core body temperature drops, they think they're hot, but they're actually cold. And so when they die of hypothermia, they're usually naked, like their clothes are next to them or something like that. So that's basically the state I was in, because when the doctor came in, I was like begging him to get naked. At this point, I didn't even care about water. Girl,
that desire was past the point, right?
I was past the point. I was like, I'm so thirsty. Please, I'm hot. Can I please take off my clothes? And all I had was the gown on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your little socks, your little booty
socks. In my socks. And he goes, you're actually not hot. You're cold, he says to me. And it kind of clicked a little bit at that point. I'm like, oh, he ordered a bear hugger and hot or warm IV fluids. So what I understand now is because they were trying to warm me up from the outside and on the inside.
And the inside, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they were trying to warm me up, my core temperature with the IV fluids, and then they were
the bear
trying to warm me up on the outside blanket with the bear hugger. Yeah.
We used to use those in the animal hospital that I worked at.
I still don't know what it looks like.
It's like a big, really thin inflatable pillow. Like it's very, very thin plastic, and it's got like a fuzzy bottom and a clear top, and you just hook a hose up to it and it blows warm air into it. And we just put that over the patient and then put a blanket over that. And it's like a heated blanket almost.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a clear inflatable pillow kind of.
Like I get cold when I talk about this. Like when I talk about this like story. So like if you guys see me doing this, it's literally because I remember how bone chilling it was, and like I almost can't shake it when I start talking about it. I'm like
memory reaction. It feels
but so anyways, I remember the doctor saying you're gonna get warm IV fluids and we're gonna put a bear hugger, and my mom was like, they're gonna warm you with the bear hugger, and I'm like, okay, what? So I pass out. I wake up. The doctor's yelling at the nurses because the bear hugger was blowing cold air on me.
Oh, for God's sakes. There is a setting for eye
Yeah, and but it was broken. My mom said that the doctor threw the bear hugger off of me, and then they had to go get another one.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So he gave me like 30 minutes to see if I was feeling better, and he came back in, and that's what was happening. Was the bear hugger was blown, and so my vitals dropped.
Even
Boom.
worse.
Jeez,
They did like the opposite of what they were trying
what they were supposed to do. It was basically a death sentence. So I basically, at that moment, that's when I went out of body and the ocean was in front of me.
Oh.
There was no more nurses. There was no more hospital room. My mom wasn't there. No doctors. It was nothing. It was just complete peace. The ocean in front of me. I was at the beach. I'm like, yes, this is amazing.
Where's the cabana boy, right?
Right.
Best ever. It was the best ever. Like the feeling, I was like, oh, it was like going to Disney World or something. I was like, I feel amazing. I'm here. I'm going into the water. So I start walking to go into the water. And when I start walking to go into the water, my mom calls my name. I hear Sarah, like that. And I'm like,
did he yank you back?
It was back here. I heard Sarah. And I literally was like, I stopped in my tracks, but I literally was like, not today, bitch. And I say that with a joke so you guys can understand the feeling of the moment, because of course I didn't call my mom that. I love my mom.
Right.
It was just the feeling of like,
I get it.
You're not gonna mess up what is about to go down. Like, I'm about to have the best moment of my life, and nothing can cock block this moment.
Nice.
Right.
And so I started to walk towards the water even more, and I looked up, and to the left of me there was a mother and a child, and they were both Caucasian. The mom, she had her hair up in a ponytail. She had blonde hair, and her son, he was probably like 9 months old. And he was in one of those yellow rafts.
Okay.
And she was probably like up to her thigh in water. So they weren't that deep in the water, but they were just playing and having a great time. And I remember looking over there, like, and just feeling the moment, feeling the bond, feeling how happy the baby was, feeling how much the mom loved the baby. Like, it was such a beautiful moment. And then when I looked to the right of me, I saw 3 guys, brothers, cousins, best friends, past life comrades, or whatever you want to call it. But there was 3 of them, and they were swimming a little bit further out in like chest deep water. And they were just like, what do you call it? Treading water, because they were just in one spot. But they were probably like chest deep in water, and they were treading water in a circle. And they're all looking at each other, just talking, making jokes that only they understood. Because I heard them talking, but I didn't understand. Like, it's almost like they were family and they had all these inside jokes, and it was such a strong bond that I had no idea what they were talking about, but I remember feeling how strong the bond was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
It was as strong as the mother and the baby.
Wow.
The bond of the brothers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was just as strong. And I started to cry, and I went to go walk. I just wanted to get in there. And as soon as before my foot hit the water, my mom called my name again, Sarah. And when she called it that time, it was just it was an immediate reaction, honestly. I turned, and as soon as I turned and I looked, I was back in my hospital bed, and my mom was standing right next to me, praying over me, had her hands on me, praying over me. Here's the funny part. I've done a lot of podcasts, and I've never actually threw in this fact, because I had to ask my mom. I said, Mom, did you call my name? Did you actually call my name?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, yeah. And she said she called it twice.
And you heard her both times.
Wow.
I heard her both times, but I didn't choose to come, because I knew if my foot hit that water, I wasn't going to come back.
Okay.
I didn't want to really come back because what I was feeling was amazing. And I call it selfish, if you will, but I was enveloped in love, peace, serenity. I was like, I'm going in there.
This is it. This is where it's at.
This is it. And when my mom called me that second time, it was because I believe everybody has a choice at that moment when you come to that moment. So like, I feel like if I would have walked in the water, I would have chose to cross. But if I would have, I feel like it happened so fast that it almost feels like I didn't have a choice, because my reaction, she called with such assertiveness and so much like passion and like, I literally felt like I was a 2-year-old child about to cross a busy highway.
Oh, gotcha.
That's how she screamed my name. And so it was like, I turned back so fast. So I have a little bit of, that's why I make a joke and go, you ain't messing up my time, because part of me is still there almost. Like, I want to go home, but it's not my time to go home. You know what I mean? And I feel like I made the choice to come back out of love for my mother, because the way she called me was like, if your mom calls you 911, like, you're going to answer. You're going to respond.
Right.
Yeah. So that was my near-death experience. It has changed my life completely. Before my NDE, I was, very religious, which I still have. I still have my own religious beliefs. But I've opened up so much to a whole new world. I went through. I mean, it was basically a super dark night, right? To where I was awakened, and I would say my relationship with Source got so much more tight that it was like I want to do what I'm supposed to do. Like, this is my second chance. Like, I know that sounds cliche, but it's my second chance to say, okay, God, how do you want to use me as a vessel, because I'm a channel. So I've always, had downloads and listened to the spirit, but I would choose my way. I want to do things like my way. You know what I mean? I'm a Taurus sun. I want to do things my way. And it's like, I've learned to surrender. And, now I'm an oracle. I use oracle cards, tarot. I do energy healing. I use crystals. But I still have
totally
my own
different from your religious background, though, right?
It is. But I still have my religious belief, because I feel like, this is just my own opinion, but I feel like religion brings more of a structure, which is like a father. And then you have the mother, which is like spirituality, which is more, free. So I feel like people should have both. I feel like people that are in spirituality that hate on religion should just chill out. And people that are in religion and hate on spirituality should just chill out. Yeah. And I've had to deal with a lot of hate from my, my family, and judgment from people on both sides, because, a lot of the spiritual community don't like certain beliefs I have. And a lot of, even my own mom doesn't like, what I do. But I have to use first of all, what God is asking me to do, and the gifts that he's given me. Right. And especially having a complete awakening afterwards. Now I have a whole business that I started in 2021 called Lighthouse Delphi, and I do healings for people. And I didn't even realize that when I talk about the NDE, right? Because I thought people were just interested in death. But what it is a lot of people have questions and are scared of it. And so I realized that, this is part of like when I'm a medium as well. So when I do that type of reading, that's like a grief transmutation. Somebody comes with you with grief. You have the ability to be able to channel messages from the divine, to be able to give, to transmute this grief. And it's almost the same thing when we're talking about death, right? I can tell you what I experienced, and now we can transmute through certain belief systems and fears that people have surrounding death. So that's why I do what I do when it comes to like the NDE, and why I even tap into it again. It's because, what truths need to come out of my experience, and I'm so thankful to be able to be that guiding light for people and, to meet awesome people like you guys and collaborate and just light it up together.
Literally, right?
Well, thank you for being that lighthouse.
Yeah, for real.
For other people out there, for sure.
And I think it's really admirable that you took first of all, I really love that analogy of religion being the masculine energy, the father energy, and then spirituality being the mother energy, the feminine energy, and how you operate like in that gray area in between. You're not stuck to either side. So I really think that's cool. And I feel like that's honestly what more people are probably doing these days, because I too was born and raised in a religious household, not like super strict or anything, but like there are rules behind religion. So like that's how I was raised. And it's like I'm totally different from how I was raised. Like again, my family is always like, who the hell are you? And I'm like, hi, new girl up in the house, But I think it's really cool that you were able to like find a way to respect both and operate in that gray area.
Yeah, it's definitely tough when it's family members like that, though, because
when they're like, oh, you're weird now. And I'm like, okay.
And the thing is like, if you loved me, you love me at every level and every growth of who I am.
Absolutely.
And if not, then you have karmic behavior and you haven't accepted things about yourself to see me grow into new things. And that's been probably the hardest. Yeah, that's probably been the hardest for me. It's like, I've had to block people. I don't even want to, because I love them. I want them to be a part of my life. But if I have a message that has to get out, but people only see the old version of me, I'm getting the Holy Spirit's already telling me that's why Jesus had to leave town. He couldn't do it. He wasn't. He couldn't do miracles in his own town because people saw him as that you're that little boy.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the times they'll try to keep that narrative of like you're just this or that, and we're so much more than that. We're multidimensional. That's why I love meeting Soul Family.
Yeah,
I'm like, thank God, because we feel almost more. The energy can flow, and we could just be authentic. We don't have to. Right. There is no like, oh, you have to hold up this kind of narrative.
No, we're meeting each other where we're at and respecting the journeys that we've had in the past and honoring the futures that we've yet to manifest.
Absolutely.
That sounded poetic as fuck. Where'd that come from?
Yeah, it did. I have to ring my bell on that one.
What's the deal with the bell? Tell me what that means.
I use sound healing, and so I have a bell, I have a gong, like I have different things that I use, and they're just very high vibrational. They clear the energy really fast. They confirm energy when you do affirmations and you use them, or just like I felt the spirit on that. It was super poetic. It needed a bell.
No, I love that, because in my show, whenever we have like a synchronistic moment, I'll be like synchronicity, and then I have like 2 sound bell things that I edit in as like confirmation to like honor that moment.
So it's like a little synchronicity bell.
I was like, wait a minute, did she do what I do?
Yeah. Right. Synchronicity.
That's right.
That's so good.
I love very that.
Cute.
Yeah.
What star systems do you resonate with?
I'm not even sure, to be honest with you. I mean, I think I had somebody tell me I was part of a system once, but I can't recall the name, and I don't want to just like talk out of my ass. Just mention one, but
my sign is a Cancer, and I've always loved the Pleiades.
Yeah, you have a very strong connection to the Pleiades. Yeah.
Do you guys care if I just pull one of these to see who is assisting?
Please do.
Because I know that was a joke. Like it was like it. Because sometimes, I got all the clairs, right? So sometimes spirit to show me that like to like chill out, cool. It's cool. Like so, drop some tea, some truth like that. Yeah. And I know it was almost like it's like a joke. It's like a joke. It's like, it's cool like that. So I just want to know. So Holy Spirit, can you just show me Star Family? What is mine in their link with the stars?
This is so cool.
Yeah.
Wow, though. Okay, so we got on the bottom of the deck, we got Sirius.
Okay.
The Syrians.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of the Syrians? Yeah. Okay. It says kind, sensitive, inner strength, truth, and having no fear with a warrior spirit.
Wow.
And so that came through. And then the Martians.
Oh,
The
there we
friggin'
go.
Martians, like Mars.
Yeah.
Mars
Yes.
energy.
Yeah.
So hold up. So Mars is like the planet of war. Okay. And then warrior spirit came up. So we must have been in this galactic wars together or something. I know that sounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
because that's double war energy. It's
Wow.
warrior spirit having no fear right here.
Okay.
And then right here is Martian, which is the planet. It's war. So
we might have fought some galactic battles in a past
some
life or
galactic
something.
battles
Yeah,
together.
right?
And it says full of fire, warrior spirit, two warrior spirits out of the whole deck.
Wow. I mean, hey, that's
with a just do it attitude.
That's so funny.
Nice.
So, and it's like there's the guy with the beard.
Yeah, right.
It looks like
oh my gosh, but so that's why. Okay, that's pretty cool. So, galactic wars. We're light warriors, and we're bringing and anchoring in the light.
Yes, and I have a question about that, but I want to let you finish your thought.
No, I'm just saying, and it's just really cool because we go back like a Cadillac, so we can joke like that about the shrooms and the smoke. You understand? It's almost like when warriors go to battle and they have a drink together.
Oh yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? And they're like, blah blah blah, and they can kind of chop it up like that. They say chop it up like that because it's like it's just like 3 generals that have gone through some shit.
Right.
Yeah. And you can and still hold the light. We've been when you've been through such hard things and you bring in the light, but you have that Hayoka energy. So we're joking, bro. We're Hayokas. We're it's like literally a transmutation as we're talking.
Healing in real time, right?
Healing in real time.
Very cool. Dope. I do want to talk about this lighthouse, though, because I'm looking at the beautiful tattoo that I could see peeking out over here on your chest. So I know that after your NDE experience, Spirit is the one that named you Lighthouse Goddess Rose Delphi. Is that right? Like, how did that happen? And then, like, what does that name mean to you on a soul level?
Wow. So it happened in layers. It happened in layers. God likes to reveal more and more of who we are in layers. Partly probably because we wouldn't believe it. We go through these we heal in layers, and then we receive gifts in layers too.
Yeah.
And so my name was received in layers as well. So at first I started out with God said, I already love your name. Your name is Sarah. And God told me to look up the meaning of my name, which means princess. Okay. So God told me, you're royalty, you're a princess, and I want to give you a new name. And I was like, okay. And this is in my time with Spirit, while I'm just like meditating and praying and stuff. And and I heard Mediterranean goddess.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, yes, Spirit, I am a goddess. And I was like,
and you're Greek too, right? So that fits in, right? And
then I was like, and I'm Mediterranean. Yeah, yes. I'm Greek. So I was like, okay, I'm feeling that. And as I started, opening my business and sharing my gifts with the oracle cards and giving readings and messages like that, God was showing me that I was going to heal people as I healed. So it was going to be like a simultaneous process. And how God showed me was, God's like, you're like a rose that's going to bloom in this process. And so at that point, I heard ascending rose goddess. So that's when I realized, okay. And then Spirit was showing me what Shekinah healing is. And told me that I'm to bring Shekinah healing to the collective. And basically that's that divine feminine, that the glory of God, the beauty of who the woman is, bringing it down to this reality through my channel. And so I was Mediterranean goddess for a few years. And after about 3 years, my business is like 5 years old now. So for the past 2 years, one night I was in deep meditation And it didn't even start, like, I just want to be clear, when people pray or however people pray, however you meditate, that is sacred to you, whatever that looks like to you,
Right.
That night, what it looked like to me, I was dealing with some internal problems, and I wanted to minister to myself through my own gift of oracle readings. And I was at my desk and I was, doing a reading on myself. And then I went into like trance. I literally sat there for probably like hours. It was all the way till the middle of the morning.
Wow.
And I was just like sitting there like this, almost like at my desk with my eyes closed, but I was like in trance. And what I was getting was about my ancestors and how what I'm doing is it has to do with their gifts that they had and the call that is on my life, and how it's deeper than I'm just a goddess, and how I'm an oracle. And then Source was showing me about the Pythias, and I had to look up certain things because I didn't know what these things were.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a vision, which I've never shared this on a podcast, but where's my paper? I had a vision of this in my third eye, in my mind's eye, this E.
Okay.
And this is actually the exact card of that night.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Of the stuff that I wrote down. It says Pythia, Delphi.
Mm-hmm.
It says the E, know thyself, nothing to excess, surety brings ruin. And then God telling me, the eternal priestess, grace, glory, wisdom, and understanding, these are my crowns. Okay. So it was almost a spiritual coronation is how I can describe it.
Oh, I like that.
I was getting new crowns, and the crowns were golden crowns that I was receiving. And God's like, this is grace, this is glory, this is wisdom, this is understanding. And it was so that it was almost like a remembrance too of a past life energy or ancestor. So anyways, I had to look up what the Pythias were. And the Pythias, they were the oracles of Delphi. Delphi is a town in Greece. It's just north of Athens.
Okay.
And that's where the oracles of Apollo were. And they were very sacred.
Okay.
And they were adorned. There was usually 3 of them at one time. And people would line up with gifts and everything. And like, they would only first of all, only if God wanted them to even see anybody would they see anybody. And they would only see people once a month. Mm-hmm. And then they would bathe in the sacred waters. And it was just such they were like goddesses, Mm-hmm. And so Source showed me that was part of who I am and what I hold. And it was a very defining moment. And that's when Source said, you're the lighthouse. You're the lighthouse on the Mediterranean Sea. If you're the Mediterranean goddess, you're the actual safety house, shining the light for people to be able to navigate, for sailors to be able to navigate, for lost people to be able to navigate to safe waters, And so that's when I revamped my business into Lighthouse Delphi. And it was such a profound process. But that's why it's important too to always allow growth, because I can't say, what if that happens again and I'm, now and to something, another name or something. Mm-hmm. But there's definitely multi dimensions to it too, because there's many how do I say, faces of myself, because
versions of maybe
versions or because my galactic, when I really tap into my galactic stuff, I call myself Commander Golden, and it's a whole embodiment, and so it's being okay with embodying it's not, when I say faces, it's not masks of not being authentic. It's being safe with being every single dimensional prism of yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Because I don't just like rap music. I like rock music. I like country music. Like, I'm freaking so much more deep than people, you know, believe or whatever. So there's been like a revelation, I guess, of other aspects of who I am, you know what I mean? But I think it comes with layers of healing. Because if God would have straight up told me that off the back, I might would have been like, what the heck, you know? I had to be able to sit in that energy and really try to understand that energy.
It's cool that you're open to self-evolution, though, because a lot of people are like closed off. They've boxed themselves in somewhere and they don't like to peek out over the top of the box. You know, they're just happy with being there. But it sounds like you're very open to whatever new versions of you have yet to become.
What's one of the what's one of your most favorite aspects about yourself?
Oh, what a cute question.
My personality, because I love being down to earth, because I want to be relatable to people. Like, I want to be like your sister or something that you're like, oh, you know, so whenever I have a message that's channeled, that I want the people to receive it. So I want them to feel like real comfortable and stuff like that. So I like that about myself, is that I can kind of make everybody feel like if I go into a room and it's awkward, I'm transmuting immediately. Like.
Awesome. Yay.
Love that. Thank you. Thank you for being you. I have another favorite question, because you've mentioned working with lots of different divination tools so far. You mentioned oracle cards and crystals and light language. So I guess I want to, you also mentioned sound healing. So I guess I want to know, like, which one of those is your favorite to work with? Do you have a favorite?
Yeah. I would say the poetry and singing, like writing a poem and then singing it, like, that's my favorite. But the fans like my readings the best, and I just know from the views, you know, my readings, people are eating my readings up, and then like a lot of my music and things like that. It's very unique. It's very different. You know what I mean? So people, you know, people like it or they don't like it. You know, not my problem.
Hey, since you just mentioned views, do our audience a favor and drop your links. Let them know where they can find you online, what services you offer, and any upcoming things you're excited about.
Awesome. So guys, you guys can find me on YouTube at Lighthouse Delphi, or you can find me on Instagram at Goddess Delphi. You can also find out pretty much everything about me by going on my website at lighthousedelphi.com. It has all my services on there, a little bit about me. Pretty much everything I've created is on there. I have like goddess merch that I have for sale. I have like affirmation cups, goddess hoodies. I've created like 7 oracle decks, my own oracle decks that you guys can purchase on there. My book, Touched by the Light, it talks about my near-death experience. You guys can go cop that. You guys can go listen to all my sound healing. I have some really good meditations on there, and go watch some of my readings and get some guidance and healing. And if you feel drawn to my energy, you guys can feel free to email me and book a reading.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that with them. And I will have all those links on the screen as you say them. And of course, for our audience, I'll have them in the video description box also. So please, if you feel desired to work with Sarah, the options are there for you to click on them. So definitely take advantage of that. Do you have a favorite mantra or affirmation that you live by?
Yes.
What is it?
And it's actually on the back of all my hoodies.
What does it say? What does it say?
It says, "You are more than enough."
Love that. I love that.
That's awesome.
We say that quite frequently because it seems like something so foreign. You know, we grow up in a society where you're taught that you're not enough. You're, you know, and then I'll speak for my own personal upbringing where when I was raised with a Catholic background, we were taught that you're born an original sinner. And I was like, so you just pop out the womb already on the shit list? Like, how does that fucking work? You know what I mean? You just fresh on the scene, already a criminal. Like, oh, damn. All right. So yeah, I really like that phrase, you are enough, because it seems so foreign to well, the way I was raised or brought up. And also when you think about societal norms, you know, all people that sell something, whether it be makeup or soap or clothing or whatever, they make it seem like you're not whole without that thing. So like you're constantly being bombarded with, you're not enough until you have this thing. And then once you get this thing, you're going to be happy. And then once you get that happy, your life is going to be, you know, so it's like a whole farce. So I feel like if people can start with, I am enough,
Amen,
all that other shit can just fall away, because it's
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's consumerism. Right. It's commercialism. It's profit making. Yeah.
Right.
yeah. And even when it becomes between like spiritual brothers and sisters, if we don't deal with that wound, then it brings a competitive energy. Yes. And what that is a lack mentality. So you don't believe there's enough abundance and enough shine and enough glory for me and for you.
That's so true.
Because you don't feel enough. And that's one of the main things I work on is with self-love, because I had to learn, and I still am learning.
Same.
More and more about self-love, because there's a purpose for all of us. And if we can really embrace who we are and embrace what divine has for us, then all of us can shine in our own lane, you know? But what happens is people don't think they're enough. Now they're going in your lane, and now there's traffic, people are, you know, and it's just like, no, you know, it's meant for a flow, you know? So I appreciate being able to work with people like you guys who have done enough healing, and myself, we've done enough healing where we can bring in light codes. We can bring in love. We can bring in light. We can create this atmosphere. And to me, that's New Earth.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yes, 5D.
I mean, it really is all about love, I think. You know,
fundamentally, it's all about love. Exactly. That's what we came from, and that's what we are. It's this world in the veil of forgetfulness that makes you think otherwise. And then, of course, there's religious programming and societal programming and family programming and whatever. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm curious because it says that you're known as a water alchemist. So school our audience, and me included, what is a water alchemist, and how does water play a role in your healing work? Because I always talk about how water has consciousness. We always talk about Dr. Emoto and him and
his water
the things going on. So what is a water alchemist, and what do you do?
Okay, so first of all, remember how I was talking about how gifts come in layers?
Yes.
So this is one of I've always had this gift with water, but it was like just revealed to me within the last year of like how to put a name to it. Okay. You know, it first came through as like water bender, you know, water alchemist, water transmuter. And the funny part is I don't really have any water in my birth chart.
Really?
But I had past lives, water planets. So I have still a huge connection with water, to the point of like, where I was born and raised, Rhode Island, is called the Ocean State.
Oh yeah.
And so I've always had like connection with mermaids, things like that. I really believe that I was a mermaid in a past life as well.
Sure you were.
So, yeah. So I was a good one though. The sirens, they didn't like me because I would show the sailors the right way.
Oh wow! So they were like, "This girl's messing up our game."
I would mess up. I was basically a traitor, because I would mess up their game.
Yeah,
you know. But so it came to me because, first of all, I've always had to spend a lot of time in water, around water. Like when I go out in nature, water has to be by. It helps me with just my emotions. And then when I started really having to deal with certain ailments because of I didn't want to get into all this, but I will. When you deal with trauma, your central nervous system takes a effing beating.
Yeah.
And when you try to heal and regulate yourself, sometimes you find yourself where you've been sick. And a lot of that is like autoimmune disease. And so I've had to deal with a lot of different autoimmune conditions and stuff like that. And I couldn't find anything that would help me except water, getting into warm water. And so I found myself all the time getting into warm water, being around water, praying, meditating with the water, talking to the water. Before I even knew about, before I even had the near-death experience, before I knew anything about spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I had the near-death experience, everything was coming together about the water. And it was like,
that's what you saw in your near-death experience. You were on a beach, water.
Yeah. And Source showed me it was like a portal to cross over. Okay. Like if I would have hit that water,
you'd have been on the other side.
I would have been on the other side.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And also, I didn't even know about the experiments that now I do, because I've done enough podcasts where people have asked me. And so I had to look up, and when they speak to water, it changes the patterns in the water.
Right.
And when you are, I guess one put like rice with the water and was speaking bad to it. And then, and it has these things. And so our bodies are made up of mostly water.
Yep.
That's what I've always said.
Yep.
And when we're trying to heal our DNA, because we're not just trying to heal our body or our minds, we're trying to heal our tissues and at a molecular DNA level.
Right.
Right.
And we can do it with water.
Subway exhibit comes to us from Japan and Mr. Masuro Emoto. Mr. Emoto became terribly interested in the molecular structure of water and what affects it. Now, water is the most receptive of the 4 elements. Mr. Emoto thought perhaps it would respond to non-physical events. So he set up a series of studies, applied mental stimuli, and photographed it with a dark field microscope. This first picture is a picture of water from the Fujiwara Dam. And this picture is the same water after receiving a blessing from a Zen Buddhist monk. Now, in this next series of pictures, Mr. Emoto printed out words, taped them to bottles of distilled water, and left them out overnight. This first photograph is a picture of the pure distilled water, just the essence of itself. These subsequent photographs, as you can see, are each different. This is the chi of love. And we move along here to thank you. And you can see where he taped that to this bottle here. But if you read Japanese, you already knew that. Now, Mr. Emoto speaks of the thought or intent being the driving force in all of this. The science of how that actually affects the molecules is unknown, except to the water molecules, of course. And it's really fascinating when you keep in mind that 90% of our bodies are water.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? If thoughts can do that to water, imagine what our thoughts can do to us.
As you ingest water, you can speak. I love water so much. And the more I started doing my healings, I started to realize that with tarot, the cups, the water in tarot, the cups, is the emotions, the emotional body. And so in spirituality, water represents emotion. So when you're talking about the moon, the intuition, it rules the waves, the tides.
That's right.
Right.
That's the divine feminine.
Ah.
So the water is the mother. So I was held by the water when I was dying. I was basically being held by mama. And a lot of the indigenous people, they call it Pachamama or mother, even Mother Earth or things like that. But I experienced that in the water. And so when I call myself a water alchemist, when I do a reading for you, it doesn't matter if it's a past life reading, whatever kind of reading it is. It could be, I don't even have to use cards. Y'all seen it. I don't need cards. And whenever I'm getting all that intuition and all that, that's all my relationship with water as well. And it's all healing. And so I'm going to start bringing in an emotional aspect of healing. And when I do that, I'm alchemizing and transmuting your water, your DNA. So that's what makes me a water alchemist. So before you come to a reading and after you leave, your structure is going to be changed, because I can literally speak to water too.
Right.
We all can.
Yeah.
We all can.
I love I see when I first read Water Alchemist, I guess I kind of thought I was thinking of like a glass of water or like a body of water, but I don't think I necessarily related it to our body's water. So you're, through your sound and your healing techniques, you're healing the water of people's bodies, which magic on earth, man, magic on earth. The work you do is so important. I'm so glad we're getting to bring, this kind of attention to it. Really, truly.
Yeah,
and I've always felt a strong connection with water myself. And we do a lot of, like, I don't want to say a lot, but like there's a couple of ritualistic things that we do with water. Like, for example, on our fish tank that we have in the living room, there's a top tank where the fish are, and there's a bottom tank where it cycles through and it filters and it goes through this pump and then it goes back up. Anyways, I'm digressing. But on the bottom tank, on the glass, I write love, health, abundance, fertility, joy, just to get the vibes of those words in that water. And then as I'm taking a shower, like I'll do the same thing. I'll think about, like, as the water's hitting my body, my energy is transmuting and adding to the energy of the water. And plus I have rose quartz hanging on the shower thing. So there's the energy of the crystals in the water also. And the water loops up and goes through where the two crystals are hanging. So it's like, I don't know. I have a really big spiritual connection with water too.
Leslie would have loved this conversation.
I know.
Some people might think that this is weird. But
that's why we do the show, though.
Yeah, and it's actually ancient technology.
Yeah, right.
This is ancient technology. It's Atlantean and Lemurian. It's actually healing with sound, light, and elements. It's basic healing. Basic. It's lights, sound, and elements.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is stuff that our ancestors have done since the beginning of time. We're just remembering. We're remembering how to do it. Yeah. And so it's like that whole contraption that you have. That is like specific for you, and you've done it before in other lifetimes. Like it's not anything like new. And so, I mean, whether it's a cup of water, your body, or a body of water, I was getting that, where it's like that Rumi quote where he says, like, we're one drop, but we're the ocean in one drop, basically. I don't know the exact saying, but that's
I know what quote you're referring to. Yeah.
And it's basically like people think that because we're separate from source that we're not the ocean. But just because you're a drop doesn't, I mean, it's the same makeup. If you look at the ocean and then you look at the drop, it's the same makeup.
Right.
And so we have to be able to remember that, I mean, we're one drop of the ocean, but we're really the whole ocean.
The whole ocean at the same time.
In a drop.
Yeah.
That I feel like that's a excellent analogy for consciousness, in and of itself. We are all conscious. However, we are all still a part of something much larger than ourselves. And I feel like that's a really good analogy with the water.
I also thought of where they say like when we're discussing whether or not aliens exist, and the people are like, they look up to the sky and they're like, well, I don't see nothing, so they must not exist. But that's like taking a drop of water from the ocean and going, oh, there's no shark in here, so sharks must not be real. And it's like, well, you don't have a big enough sample, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Go get some more. But
like we haven't even seen the whole ocean on Earth. Never mind the cosmic ocean.
Literally 80% of our oceans are uncharted and undiscovered. And I tend to believe that there's alien bases all up under there because it's the perfect hiding place. We've never looked at it, so it would be the perfect place for them to be.
And believe it or not, but there is actual data evidence that suggests that could be possible.
Hey,
or that could be a reality.
Leftovers from Atlantis and Lemuria. I believe it's really real. Like
I do too. And the evidence of that also is the fact that we're using this healing right now. Like me talking about water alchemy. You're talking about how you write a lot of my friends too, we write codes. So we use numerology and even write the codes on the water.
Okay. Yeah.
And also using the crystals with the water. You know what I'm saying? Like they're bringing the elemental healings, like the earth element with the water element together.
Yes.
And using that. And then if you add any kind of sound to that takes it even to a whole other level.
Frequencies to
light.
Mm-hmm. It's like semantics.
It's so beautiful. It's really the only thing that has helped me heal. Like I've went through a lot of trauma. I've dealt with a lot of things, and definitely the oracle cards and doing my relationship with God is huge, but we have to be able to find practical ways, and those are some of the practical ways that I have found is like doing the hape even, or even a microdose, or going in nature, or going by the water, or infusing the water healing with the crystals. One of the basic meditations I do is the shower. And you can, like, I take Florida water in there or rose water. I use rose water, and I'll make like a concoction too and put it on my crown, and then, do a meditation to cleanse. A lot of spiritual hygiene I do because of the type of work I do. Being a light warrior, being a light worker, I have to constantly clear this energy, this stagnant energy, this bullshit, all these, because I want to make sure when my messages too come through, like I gotta, like, I always hear the Holy Spirit, but it's like, I want to have my energy high vibe to be able to deliver the message. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
But I wanted to tell you though, I've gotten messages from like Arcturians. I've gotten messages from Lyrans, Blue Avians. I can feel when they come through, and I can feel the beautiful message. And a lot of the times I've written it down. Me personally, I resonate with Mintaka.
Okay.
I've gotten a reading before too from a friend of mine who's highly, highly, highly intuitive, because I don't let people read for me like that. But she told me, she's like, yeah, you feel like a mermaid? It's Mintaka. I was like, I knew it. And it's basically ancient souls of the mermaids. But so I really love, I forgot what we were talking about. I love this whole conversation.
That's what I told you before the call started. We just go off on all these tangents that seem unrelated, but really they also refer to the same thing. I wanted you to give our audience a couple of spiritual hygiene tips, because I'm sure that concept is probably new to a lot of people. Like, spiritual hygiene, what? You mean taking a shower? It's like, well, yeah, if you infuse some crystals and some mantras and some intentions into it, it could be a spiritual shower. But school people on how to do spiritual hygiene, please and thank you.
Yes, great question. So first of all, just like meditation and prayer, spiritual hygiene is going to be specific for you. So whatever your intuition, tap into your own intuition and allow it to guide you, because I can give you certain recipes of stuff I use, and you can start off with that, but then you can get creative, your own self. It's kind of like if I gave you a recipe to make some sort of meal, and then you taste it and you're like, that's good, but let me tweak it how I like. So whenever I give these pointers, please do that for yourself,
Okay, great.
But there's many different ways to clear your energy. I can go on and on at different things that I use to clear my energy. One of the basic things, of course, first of all, though, is sound. Speaking, using your words, saying high vibrational things, singing high vibrational frequencies and songs clears the energy. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And then also, instruments, certain bells and things. I have my gong. I love gongs. My dream is one day to have a huge gong.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That clears the energy.
I would love to have one too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you resonate with like past life in Asia? Anything like that?
Yeah.
You have a lot of Asian tendencies.
I do.
If that's not culturally inappropriate to say, I would not. But you do.
I studied Japanese, but I learned how to speak Japanese.
If that was culturally inappropriate.
No, I don't think so. I think that was pretty dope. That was funny.
If I had to classify myself, I would say I'm more aligned with Buddhism than anything. So, all the spiritual tools that go along with Buddhism.
Okay, so I feel, and take that if it resonates, but I can't just like not talk about it. I feel like it has to do with past life. It's definitely maybe a past life tie. Like maybe you had thought one time, like, why am I drawn to this so much or something like that? But that's probably why.
Okay.
That resonates. Life. That definitely resonates.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next thing we're manifesting then is a big gong for me and a big gong for him.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Very cool.
2 Zoom business suites and 2 big gongs.
Yes. Right.
Thank you, spirit guides. Thank you. Very
so another thing is the crystals. So whenever I use water, because water is another big way to cleanse the energy, and also if you want to use the element of air, you can use fire. Because I don't want to just focus on the water, because you can do other things. Like maybe you've taken a spiritual bath and now you need to do, and I'll talk about the spiritual bath real quick, but maybe you need to do, a burn ceremony or something like that too.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So don't forget about the other elements, because like I use Palo Santo, which is holy wood.
Yeah.
I use
Santo.
You love it?
I love it. I burned it like 5 times already today.
Doesn't it smell so good too?
It
just like has this light energy, like this light, beautiful energy. And I also have sage, I have lemongrass or sweetgrass. And because in sacred healing, if you look at the medicine wheel for the indigenous people, they have the 4 directions on there, and they actually use sacred tobacco. They use sage, they use sweetgrass, and then the other one is cedar they use. Those are the 4 things for air element to clear when it comes to smoke. But I always tell people, if you don't like smoke, you can get yourself, like I make sprays. You don't have to get it from me, but you can use different sprays. Like rosemary is a really good clearing essential oil. Mm-hmm. What I do is I'll make a spray of rosemary and I'll spray it on my pillows. If my children start having nightmares, I'll go in there and, we're clearing some energy. We're spraying rosemary on the pillows. We're praying and we're getting that energy moving out. Right.
Nice.
And that still is mixed with water. Right. Mm-hmm. So that's still like a water plus air elemental spiritual cleanse.
Very cool.
Okay, so then when you're
wanting with them combos, hit them with the
combos. We hit them with the 1-2. We're the real warriors. We got the combo shots. We're not just like boom, blow, burn Palo Santo, burn. No, we got the Palo Santo. We got the sound healing going.
Yeah, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Hit them with the air, the earth, the fire, and the water, baby.
All of it. That's right. We're literally like the spiritual Muhammad Ali's over here.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying, because when the enemy, and some, you could think about it as you want, because we are all one, and ultimately the enemy is for our good anyways. But when the enemy comes and he's heavy hitting you, you got to know how to hit with the 1-2 combo back with the heavy hit.
Yes, girl.
And you do that with your words, and you do that with all these clearing tools. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So yeah, hit them with the 1-2, with the air, with the water together. And then like when I go, when you go take a bath, I always use, so you have the water element, and then I add salt. I add sea salt.
Ah, okay.
Sometimes I add black salt.
Okay.
Sometimes I add Epsom salt. Sometimes I add all of them. I'll have black salt, sea salt. I'll have black salt, Mediterranean sea salt, because I'm a Mediterranean, right? You can do that. You can use whatever kind of sea salt you want. But me personally, because I'm Mediterranean, I use Mediterranean sea salt. You get an extra layer of ancestral protection when you do that. When you start using your indigenous. So find out, what your heritage is. Yeah. Your actual heritage, and then use some of those. And you could do past life too, past life heritage, and use some of those same elements, in your stuff. So when I take a bath, like the other day, I usually take one on, and this is if you guys want to do a maintenance, not like if you're under like heavy spiritual warfare, bro, take as many baths as you feel led to. But if you're just on like a maintenance thing, do it on the full moon cycles, because it's the water. You're using the element of the water, and the moon rules the water. So I'll take a bath usually on like the full moon or the new moon, and then you add salt to it with intention, right? And you add whatever essential oil you like. I like using all different stuff. I like bergamot. I like citrus, orange. I like rose. I like lemon. I have all different types of essential oils. And then you can put in whatever herb you want. So if you want flowers, put in flowers. Okay. When here's a very, very, if you want to do like a complete like clearing, and you feel like someone's doing black magic on you or something. You put some black salt in the water, burn some Palo Santo, burn a white or a black candle, and put some mugwort up in there. Okay, all right. Like, you see what I'm saying? So you should find out what your spirit is led to, but then also you can go on Google and say, well, what is this herb used for? What is this oil used for? What is this salt used for? I've also taken very lovely baths full of roses, honey, milk. Oh, wow. All that. Yeah.
And this also lends to self-love too, because it's like, if you think about taking a bath that you're describing as like spiritual hygiene, it could also be looked at as like a self-love thing. Because I mean, really, you're taking a fancy smelling, lovely feeling bath. I mean, it sounds it sounds kind of basic, but at the same time, your intention and your thought in between what you're doing and what you're putting in and why you're putting it in is where it adds that spiritual like element.
Right. Yes. Right. Yes. And you can, if you want like a super self-lovey bath, you're going to use flowers like roses that represent love, and you're going to use rose quartz that represents love. And if you're doing something with protection, you're going to want to use some black salt. You're going to want to use some obsidian crystals or tourmaline, something that has that energy to absorb all that negative type of energy.
I have black tourmaline hanging above all the doors that enter and leave my home. Yep. And I've got a broom. I've got black tourmaline and bells on all my doors that lead into and out of the house.
I love that. I need to get some bells.
Yes. Girl, on TikTok, they're little. They're the little. It's like a C-shaped.
It's like a singable.
Yeah,
almost,
it's like
but it's like a little tiny singable that has a little
container, and then it has like a mini sound bowl, and then there's like a little thing that hangs, and every time we open and close the door,
it goes ding ding. Yeah.
It's less than $5 on TikTok Shop, girl. I'll put you on.
Okay. Yeah, send me that link too. Send me that link too. Absolutely. Send me your YouTube link and send me the link for the bells, because I do, because another form is like cleaning the house using certain, like whenever I do my floors, I add Florida water or, things like that. Yeah.
I do moon water sometimes, if I can remember. I do moon water to mop the floors to get that energy all over the house.
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes it could feel like a lot, because like, especially like I told you, I'm a single mom of 3, and it's just a lot. And by the time you clean the house, you already got to clean the house again.
Right.
I got 4 dogs. I think it's the exact same as 3 kids, but it's on the same level.
Yeah. And this ain't a normal cleaning. I'm over here with the Florida water and everything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it could be a lot. So what I say is just always keep your prayer life up. Like always spend time with Source and always call on your angels. Always call on your ancestors of the highest divine, because like I might not be able to do a bath. I might get so tired before the night's over, I can't even do my spiritual bath, but I can go to bed and know, right? Okay, Holy Spirit, God, surround me, ancestors, angels, make sure, because even when we sleep, a lot of us astral travel. So then I gotta, if you do a lot of astral traveling, try to have something like a crystal to ground, next to your bed or something like that,
Yeah.
But a lot of the times, I try to do all these things, but sometimes I don't. And I'm saying that to be real so that people can understand, because sometimes it's just a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Work in what you can and don't stress if you can't, I mean,
if you can't, because it's not about the ritual itself. It's about the intention.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. Yes. Perfect answer. I love that. Thank you so much.
I love that too.
Hit her with your doozy. All right. So this next question we ask of all of our guests, and I hope you're ready for it. Go.
Okay. All right. Sarah, what's your greatest hope for the future of humanity?
I want to be question. Because I want to be sentimental, like, like Miss USA with her answer.
Oh, yeah.
But I heard my spirit guide say, can't we all just get along?
It's so true.
So that's what I would say is, my hope for humanity is that we can heal and all know that we're enough and really just love one another.
Yes. Again, it sounds so basic, but it has so much power behind it, right? Oh my goodness. Right. Thank you so much. Wow, this conversation's been fun. My cheeks are kind of hurting over here.
No, mine too.
My face is really red. Is it red? Yes, it's red.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sarah, is there any last things or any other pieces of advice or things that you wanted to express before we close out today?
I just want everybody who's watching, thank you so much for taking your time to stop in. And I hope that you can open up your heart, open up your mind, so that you can heal and understand that you are a whole person.
Yeah.
Oh, so beautiful.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you, Justin. Thank you to our audience. And while you guys are here, please do us a favor and smash that like button, click subscribe, ring our little notification bell, drop a lovely comment down below, and share this video with your family and friends to help us spread the good word. All right, Sarah, the next part, you're already there. You're already there. I was just about to say, we do much love, peace, and understanding. So can you join us for that? You already started the first part. You ready?
Right, you ready?
Okay.
Okay.
Much love, peace,
and namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste, guys.